So, a brief yet important note for this week I want you to consider. That is, we are seeing obviously demonstrations erupt again, typically in urban areas, the usual. Um, Protesting, ironically, Elon Musk and Tesla and this sort of thing. Apparently the left is not happy about Elon Musk leading an effort that is exposing all kinds of government fraud that is wasting billions of dollars of your money, of course, but that's a problem for them apparently. So, whatever the case is, they have a penchant for being violent and protesting, and often their protests turn into riots. So, what I want to mention is the fact that no matter how well you pay attention to the political happenings around you in your environment, around your place of work, around any place that you may be traveling, these things can happen very quickly. I have a personal experience with that, actually. I was in a particular city on business, and I literally walked outside of the office building where I was, and there were several hundred people there getting rowdy, and a big police presence swarmed in immediately to disperse a crowd that showed up to protest the apparently the Prime Minister of Bangladesh was giving a speech at the big hotel that was right there next door. So, under what circumstances would I possibly have known that the Prime Minister of Bangladesh was going to show up right next door to where I was to give a speech and attract a crowd of screaming, shrieking people with signs? That was not on my radar at all. I don't know, maybe you track Bangladesh politics more closely than I do, but I certainly was not anticipating that. That's a perfect example of how these things can happen very quickly. So, what you want to consider if you are caught off guard in a demonstration that pops off quickly, people who go out and demonstrate typically come from the far left side of the political aisle, and they are prone to violence. Now, you can take issue with that, but I would ask you, show me how many times has there been protests conducted by far right extremists like we hear about. There's been a few. There's absolutely been a few, but this is typically a far left phenomenon for whatever reason. And obviously, there is a government administration in place that they hate. So for 4 years straight, we're going to see this nonstop. Okay, over every particular thing, there's going to be demonstrations, which will probably be fiery but mostly peaceful in nature. And you can all look that up if you don't know what that alludes to. So, bear in mind what obviously is going around you, transpiring, if anything is planned in the vicinity where you will be. But no matter how much planning you do, you might be taken by surprise. So, some things to consider. How are you dressed? Be the proverbial gray man. Okay, look like your environment. Don't be wearing things that make you stand out. When you're in urban areas, lose the MAGA hat. Now, that's fine if you want to, it's your First Amendment right. I agree with that. But the people who are out protesting and, hey, Elon Musk and all that, they don't agree with that. Okay, they have no use for the Constitution. They pretend they do, but they don't. Look at their stance on the Second Amendment if you need clarification for where they stand anywhere on your constitutional rights. Okay, they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in any rights. Dress the gray man so you don't stand out in the environments where you are. If you walk out and you're in the middle of something that's getting violent, move along with the crowd and get out of there as quickly as possible. Other things to consider, have what you need with you. If not on person, certainly in the vehicle. If wherever you've traveled to, you are in vehicle, have all of the tools that you need to sustain for an unknown duration of time. Sometimes these things get bad enough that they can shut down the infrastructure for at least a little while. You might not be making your usual commute home thanks to these idiot protesters who decide to shut down a highway or something like that. Have what you need. And certainly, as a worst case scenario, keep that get home bag and good shoes and seasonally appropriate clothing in your vehicle so that you could make it home on foot or make it out of the dangerous area on foot if need be. So this is the environment that we're living in. They are furious with the administration that is currently in the White House. So we are in for nonstop rioting about every given thing, no matter how ridiculous their reasons are. They need no reason other than the fact that they do not have a far leftist in the White House currently. So they will be rioting all the time, nonstop. When you have to spend time in blue urban areas, you have to pay attention to what's going on and have a plan to egress quickly.